Hello, and welcome to Fusion Writing, where building character meets creating structure. And this is our map day. And boy, do we have a lot of fun for you, as this is also our Zettelkasten week. And Victoria is ready to present her map process. Victoria?
Okay, so over the last couple of weeks, we've talked about conflict-driven stories and non-conflict-driven stories. And if you're following along with us, then perhaps you have created some note cards that go along with those different kinds of story. Spoiler alert, in the book that I'm writing, Zettelkasten for Fiction Writers, I have a section on different kinds of story, and we actually model them out for what they look like. So I have some of those cards as well, and hopefully you do too. But let's break it down now that we're in our Zettelkasten week and look at what do we do with all of these things that we've created, and how do we track them, and how do they then fuel the writing process? Those are the important things. So let's look at it. Let's take what I call the 5 C's of conflict story. You may recall it's catalyst, challenges, crisis, climax, and conclusion. Well, in my mind, these break down into story components. So maybe I'm going to go to my handy dandy index, and I'm going to go to S for story, and I'm going to enter a keyword, story dash components. And then maybe in parentheses, I'm going to put conflict driven. And then I'm going to assign that the number in my Zettelkasten. So over in my note box, my number is 1150. That tells me that this card belongs in the book that I'm writing, because that's 1150. And then it gets a slash and a 2024.11/12. That tells me on the 11th and the 12th of January in 2024 is when I use this card, but it ultimately lives in the text for my book. So that's how I break those things down for myself. It's very simple. And the key linchpin is when you need to find this, you have to look at your brain and think about, how would I think about that? For me, I'm going to look under story components or story structure, which is going to take me to S. I'm going to scan my index and I'm going to find that entry, and I know exactly where to go to find that card. Same thing for the non-conflict driven story. This one, you may recall, we talked about a conflict or a challenge alternative, which could be a discovery or an observation where you gain an insight and maybe there's a meditation or a reflection. So again, story components, it's going to go under S in the same place that the first one did, but instead of conflict driven in parentheses, it's going to say non-conflict. So don't confuse yourself or overcomplicate the process when you're taking your cards, gathering them up, and installing them in your note box. Hold as your first principle every single time you're going to go to the place where you will most likely think to look for it. That will never get you in trouble. It's when you start complex categories or lots of cross-referencing, you get yourself in the weeds because there's too many places and too many connections. Now down the road, that may be something that you do, introducing some complexity in order to grow out your knowledge tree within your note box. But in the beginning, keep it simple. Just take my advice and keep it simple. That way, as you start to see those connections and grow that index, you start to discover things for yourself, and you start to make those connections. So just trust the process, my friends. Trust the process. Let's look at another one. In my character traits, this is one where Kathleen was discussing a base trait and how you can use a base trait to identify the true nature of a character. At first glance, you might think this is a character card, but it's really not, because it's not specific to any one character, right? It's not any main male, main female, side character. This is just a trait. So obviously it's going to go under C in my character traits. And for this one, this is specific to the identity, the nature of a character. So if I'm keywording this, I'm probably going to put it under C for character traits, in parentheses, character nature. And maybe I'm going to put it under I, under identity, parentheses, character traits. See how I did that? I'm just giving myself a few breadcrumbs in my keywords that help me get back to this card and what I want to remember about it. Most importantly, whatever notes I've taken on the bottom of it. Because remember, the bottom piece of real estate on your note cards is always used for those thoughts, ideas, brainstorms, potential applications. That's just where you're capturing that important bit of your thought so that when you go back to that card, you can remember why you thought it was important in the first place. So always include, as the esteemed Kathleen Spracklen would advise, a little piece of yourself in those notes so that you remember why this was important. For me, my note says, this is critical for character arc, whether it's a positive, a negative, or a static arc. You're still using this base trait as a navigator for how you're going to build out that character's journey. That's the important piece for me. So that's the note that I've made off the bottom. Again, this goes under 1150, and then it goes under the character traits where they live in my book. Because for me, I think about things in how they fit into the books that I write. So whether it's the nonfiction book that I'm writing for you on how to write fiction, or it's in my novel, those are the universes where my ideas live, and that's where I'm going to go to look first for them. So a final card is a straight out fiction writing card, and it's about using a discovery method of writing in regards to a particular character. Where in the world am I going to put that? Well, it's going to go under writing methods because it's about using a discovery writing method. So if I'm trying to find that again, that's probably what I'm going to remember is, oh, I know there's a way to use discovery writing to develop a character. Where would that be? It goes under discovery writing. So again, in that way, you're just following those breadcrumbs to the most logical place that you would think to look for something. And then you're going to go to your index and you're going to just peruse those keywords until it leads you back to the item that you're looking for. So that is it for my Zettelkasten installment this week. Keep track of those cards. Regularly install them. Don't wait until you have a big, huge pile, because then it's an overwhelming task and you end up with a stack this big and you don't want to tackle it. And make sure that you always use your most logical, most likely thought process in order to find your way to the keywords and back to the thing that you're trying to identify. So with that, I will throw it over to Kathleen so that she can piggyback on top of my presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, Victoria. Well, I am on a different track. I'm not quite as piggyback as I thought I was going to be, because I thought Victoria was going to be talking about filing the cards of the story itself. Those magical cards that you create as you go along. And at some point in time, you're going to be taking those cards of your story and you're going to be dropping them in your plot box. You may not know exactly where they go to begin with, but they're going to be put in a space that's about where in the story you think you're going to be putting them. For example, when your story is very thin and you might just want to use your 4 acts of the 4-act structure and just put everything in the first slot of each act. And then as you build out the acts, you can start dividing them up into the various plot points and even the plot beats as you get more and more and more refined in your story. Now that's what I'm piggybacking off of, because now you've got one of your cards and it's a story element and you know what's going to happen in your story. Now, here's my piggyback. You've got a couple of characters, say they're in a dialogue, maybe they're in a cafe. Victoria always likes to put them in a cafe. And it's your main male lead and your main female lead. What might I be piggyback off of that? I'm going to suggest that you make a character profile diagram. And in that character profile diagram, I'm going to suggest that you find the character trait that's most obvious in that scene, in that moment. And then, just like Victoria has taught us to do, we're going to color code them for our male lead and our female lead. We'll have a whole chart of colors before we're done for all the characters in our story. And whenever you have a scene that involves any of your characters, what character trait is showing? What character trait is on display? Grab it, put it in its position, and highlight it with that characters and literally drop it in the plot box right next to the scene. You might even give it the same number if you've already numbered it, or if they're not numbered yet because you're still fuzzy, put it right next to the card that describes that scene. And that's what I mean about piggybacking. Now you already know all of your positions on the character profile diagram. You can review the past episodes if you've forgotten. And either you picked up on some of the character traits when we flew through all of them, or else you know enough about character traits yourself to start putting the common words of the character trait in their spot. You know what loyalty is, you know what patience is. Many of these character traits, you know what they are. Now, of course, the more you get into them, the more you'll find they have very specialized meanings and they don't overlap. But you don't need that level of sophistication to start with. If you put anything about the character traits into your story, it will already enliven. And don't forget to track at all times where your characters are and what's showing up in your scene. That's my presentation. Victoria?
Oh, that was terrific. Now we've got both sides of the coin. We've got filing and processing, things you would consider theory items, which is what we've talked about in the previous 2 weeks. And now you've got the jelly to the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which is how to actually use the character development and the story development itself. With those two things together, that's all you need to write your story. Just be true to the cards. Make sure that you get those ideas down either on your note cards or in your drafts, because they won't stay in your head forever. And don't wait too long. Don't wait too long, because you will find yourself spinning out of control if you don't capture it in the cards and get it either into the plot box or get it filed in your Zettelkasten proper. One of the two, the cards have to be put away. And then you'll always know where to go back to keep your story going. So I look forward to seeing you next week when we get into the writing process, and also over on LiLLiPub.org, where we meet every Saturday and talk about these concepts. So we would love to see you over there. Do come join us for, as Kathleen likes to say, nothing more than the cost of a coffee. You can join us and hang out and workshop your stories and your work. We would love to see you there.
Okay, thank you. And LiLLiPub.org is where we hope to see you. And I have a very exciting piece of news. Deb Hart has made an amazing character profile worksheet, which helps you track the character profile of all of your characters. You can use it, and I use it for my characters I'm writing, the characters I'm reading about, and the stories that I read. It's just the most magnificent sheet. It's all on one piece of paper. All of the wing positions and anchor and rudder, all of those are there. All of the character traits broken down from general all the way down to very specific right here on this worksheet. And now you can get this at LiLLiPub.org. You can go there. There's a button that'll take you to our store. We have one item in our store right now. It's a 50-sheet pad of Deb's marvelous worksheets. And oh, they're just superb quality. This is heavy-duty paper. It will withstand your use. And I'm just so excited. Deb created this, and I'm just so thrilled for her. She is our first LiLLiPubber to produce a product, and we are just so thrilled to offer it at LiLLiPub.org in our new store. Talk to you later.
Come join us. See ya.
Bye-bye.